Hi, I'm Rose Smith from Ludlow Quilt and Sew. I'm delighted to be presenting this video with FaveQuilts. Their address is www.favequilts.com. And I've made this laptop, which is I've called the Truffle laptop after my dog, and it's really quite a nice pattern, I think. This is the overall lap quilt that I've called the Truffle quilt. It's about 40 inches square, and it's made up, as you can see, of a large pinwheel surrounded by green with the lilac, and then there's checkerboards on either side and at the top and bottom, and a small pinwheel in each corner. I think there, if I come in a bit, you can see the centre panel easily enough. To start making the basic blocks for this quilt, I've sewn together 3 2.5-inch strips of fabric, 2 light and 1 dark, and then another set of 3 which are 2 dark and 1 light in the middle. Now if you cut these off at 2.5-inch intervals, you'll get a whole lot of these strips. If you sew together 6 of them, that's alternating, a dark then light, dark, light, and cross there to get 6. That will be one of the basic panels that you need, and you'll need 4 of these panels. Another one that you need is a 12.5-inch strip of the dark, light, dark, and again you'll need 4 of these. I've made the half square triangles in the usual way by sewing together 2 squares with right sides together, marking a line along the diagonal, and then sewing a seam 1/4 inch either side of that marked line. Then when you cut along the line, that gives you 2 half square triangle units. Now for this quilt you'll need to do this with 2 pairs of squares in the 6 7/8 inch and with 8 pairs of squares in the 3 7/8 inch, and this will give you all the half square triangles you need. Now that I've made and pressed all the half square triangles, I'm going to lay them out like this in a pinwheel. First of all, I'll have to trim all those ends that are sticking out from the edges of the corners, and I'm going to make 1 big pinwheel for the centre, and I'm going to make 4 small pinwheels for the corners, and these are the 3 strip panels when they're sewn together. Now I've assembled all the pieces ready to put the quilt together. I've got a big pinwheel for the centre and 4 small pinwheels for the corners. I've got 8 6.5-inch lilac squares to go around the edges. I've got these 12 panel 4-patch things, and I've got the 3-part strip 12.5 inches long. So now I'm going to clear the table and lay them out for you to see. So now you can see how it's coming together. Now I've got it all laid out. I've got the big pinwheel in the centre, then I've got a 3-strip patch on each edge. I've got a green 6.5-inch square in the corner of each of those 3-strip units. Then outside of that I've got the 12-patch checkerboard, and the same again on each side of the square, so there's 4 of them in use. And then if I show you down here how the corners work, I've got the 2 6.5-inch lilac squares and a pinwheel in the corner, and each of the corners is the same as that, but my table wasn't big enough to actually lay them all out completely flat. Now I'm going to start to sew it together, so I'll begin across the top row and sew all of those together. The second row will be the same, they'll go together all as 1 row. The middle row is going to be sewing that, to the pinwheel, to the 3-strip, to the checkerboard, so that will be a fairly straightforward row. And then the bottom 2 rows are the same as the top 2 rows. They can be sewn across as complete rows, and then all the rows will need to be sewn together. I think it's easier to see how it all goes together once the rows have been sewn together. You can see the top row there has got a pinwheel at each end, then a lilac square, and then a checkerboard. The second row has got a lilac square at each end, then a green square, and then a 3-strip panel. The centre row has the big pinwheel, then a 3-strip on either side, and then a checkerboard on either side. And then the next 2 rows are the same as the top 2. There's a 3-strip, then a green on either side, and then a pink at each, lilac rather, at each end. And the bottom row is a pinwheel, and then a lilac, then a checkerboard, lilac, and pinwheel. And so now I'm just going to sew the rows together. I'm Rose Smith at Ludlow Quilt and Sew, and this video comes to you as well from www.favequilts.com, FaveQuilts.com.